Part 2 is here. So, part 2 is here of my interview on the Danna-Gift show with Brit Shane. Now, if you haven't explored the first episode and you want to do so, you can click on the link here in the top right corner. But if you don't want to, no biggie, because either way, you'll still be able to follow along with the conversation in this part 2. But I also highly recommend watching part 1 because it's a little bit weird if you just watch part 2 without watching part 1. So go ahead and watch part 1. And I don't know why I'm whispering. Go now, mama, what you doing? Let me whisper in your ear. Every time somebody whispers, that's literally the song comes in my head. Anyways, I hope you enjoy the part 2 of the Danna-Gift episode. Now, without further ado, let me introduce you or reintroduce you to the badass Brit Shane. And let her blow your mind. Ding. Do you feel like, is there any advice you would be able to give women who are highly masculine but are trying to channel their more feminine energy?
Yeah. Like, how TMI do we want to get with this?
Just like a good basic foundation. Like, where do you start?
I think, like, getting in touch with the body, my whole, like, crown and top of my head is, like, tingling as I'm thinking.
It's like, yes!
Yeah, exactly. This is my moment to shine. No, just kidding. I think it's not just sex. Like, when I say this, is not in the presence of another person, but it's, like, pleasure, right? So, and pleasure is not always orgasms, but I feel like for me, one of the first things was, like, really getting in touch with, like, the orgasmic bliss ecstatic version of myself. So like queens would rub themselves with oil, so I would literally like fill my hands with oil and I would just rub my entire body down like a ritual.
Like the self-care stuff we do is very feminine.
Yeah, very feminine. I also think, and this is just me being brutally honest, I don't know that I could have achieved it in my old life. The party you went to where I stepped down, retired, and let that life go, I had to let go of that life because when I wanted to be in my feminine, I realized the life I built was calling for a man. And so I had to outsource that.
Wow.
The business partner who runs that business now, she's very feminine. So it actually pulls her into her masculine, which is healthy for her. She's got a really good balance with it. So I think it's also recognizing why. So for me, is like I was unsafe and I was scared, so I'm gonna handle everything. I'm never gonna be hurt again. No one's ever gonna let me down. I'm always gonna have enough money.
Oh yeah.
Right? So why are you, I think if you can figure out why you're masculine and meet that need, it might go away or lessen. And then also like invite, if you are in a relationship, invite your partner to tell you in the moments you are stepping into his territory.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Because sometimes
that could be really helpful.
Because we're trying to be helpful.
Yeah.
When we give advice or when we remind him about the trash for the 9th time.
I was thinking with Dylan with the dishes earlier. He was gonna go hang out with Joey.
Oh, you guys on the dishes is hilarious.
Gosh, yeah. I'm like, babe, you wanna get those dishes before you go out with your boys? But it's like, you know, I cooked Thanksgiving dinner, so you did. Yeah, I was like, look, this is a good trade, okay?
I'll like make jokes. I like to do it in a joking way. Like that's how I do it. It's called NLP. It's neurolinguistic programming, right? But I'll be like, man, I'm just so tired because I had to take the trash out so much this week. Like, my roommate, usually he handles it, but, you know, he's just been having a really hard time. Like, fuck, like, I'm really wiped out from that task. So I'm going to go take 10 minutes. And, like, it'll never happen again. Yeah. Like, it's like you need to hack their mind in a way that's not, like, Derek, why is the trash still there?
Yeah, there's a nice, like, kind way to be not nagging. Like there's a way to demand what you want without nagging.
Yeah.
But I still am working on that. I'm not really a nagger. I think I'm more so when Dylan and I are arguing, there are times when I'll bring up more stuff.
Yeah.
Which I shouldn't.
Every female.
Yeah. And I actually listened to a podcast about how when you're experiencing one emotion, you oftentimes will only remember memories of that specific emotion. Wow. So if you're angry, all you can think about is all the memories that brought out anger with that other person. So you continue to just go down this like snowball effect.
It takes you over.
Yeah, it really does.
I think the thing with the how to get into your feminine too, I just like felt like this kind of came through me is in a relationship is different than single.
Yes.
But in both scenarios, if you're single, the way to become more feminine is probably one, easier because you're not in the presence of a trigger at all times. Like trying to heal in a relationship is effective, but it is harder.
It is difficult.
But it's also good, right?
Yeah.
It fast tracks it if you have the right partner. Or it's warmth. So one of the things that I realize is like when you're powerful and attractive and all, you know, whatever, like even 10 years ago, right, when I was in my like hot girl phase, I would enter a room like I owned the place. And while that's enticing, it's usually enticing to the wrong people. It's usually enticing to narcissists. It's enticing to sociopaths. It's enticing to people who want to take advantage of you. It's enticing to people that are lost and want a leader, or that are codependent and want someone to look up to. So it's enticing to all the categories of people you don't want.
Yeah.
And so now when I enter a room with warmth. And when I learned this, I feel like my whole life changed, because you, like anyone listening who's curious about this, like pay attention to the moments like you're warm. Because when you're in warmth, you're usually feminine. You're very rarely going to be masculine if you're warm. That's smiling. It's openness. It's like open body language. It's like nodding. It's warm.
It's being kind and like that nurturing feeling. You feel like it exudes from women. There's some women that I meet that I'm just like, my goodness, is she a gazelle? She is graceful. She is like, you know?
Yeah.
I do. I get that energy from certain women. I mean, I got that when I met you for the first time. I was like, oh, she's like lovey and happy. I was like, she's feminine. She's like doing her thing. I'm like attracted to that.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like, well, like minds attract like minds too. So
yeah, and it took a long time, I think, for our partnership or our friendship to grow, because I was very masculine when we met.
Oh, 100%, me too.
And so I think that's how we kept bonding.
Yeah.
Right. And then like you dropped down, and then I started really admiring your relationship, because I watched, like, if you guys don't know her, like her and her boyfriend, you guys have a very spiritual, evolved partnership. But I knew you both before you knew each other, right? So I witnessed the change and the shift, and I'm like, damn, that's incredible. And I've watched you soften. And I've watched him just be safe and grow, and like it's so cool to watch, because those are the kinds of relationships you don't grow up in.
Yeah.
So when you
it's
do
not like that at all. Definitely not what I witnessed as a child.
No. And it's funny. You guys are funny. Like you have so much like respect and love, and watching you interact, like the laughing. I love the way he responds to your shit sometimes. Like you'll say something, he'll just look, and he'll say something so one-liner, and like everyone laughs. And But what happens is I watch you go from, and I have the same thing, we're stoic, powerful, right, confident, and it warms you. He literally melts you when he does that. And so I think that's where we like the humor. Yeah. Because for me, that's a trick. It's a hack. Yeah. Just make me laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a simple recipe. Just make me smile. Yeah. I will say too, like the right women will definitely increase more of that testosterone in men. Like, because I've seen Dylan, when we first started dating, he was not where he is today, like in business. Boy didn't have a car. Like, there was a lot of shit that I was like, for me at the time, because I was dating high count, like, you know, higher, I don't know, income driven men. And at that time I was like, fuck, like, what am I like this man, but he doesn't check all the boxes that I thought I needed. And then now being with Dylan, it's like, okay, he's really stepping up to the plate. His income has increased significantly since we've been together. Yeah. And it's like the drive that he has just to provide is like coming out more. Yeah. So it's really cool to witness men be able to step more into the power because they have the right woman. Yeah. I'm not obviously going to say it's all me, but he didn't have the same drive that he had before.
It is, well, and he had built that's what I was saying about, like, it doesn't matter what your company grosses, right? It's like the financial stress is going to be there whether you have one company, usually, or 5, unless you're really a savant with money, which for me, like year 5 of entrepreneurship, I finally am starting to understand, like, how to live within my means and do all that. But, like, it's a journey. If you didn't grow up with financially savvy parents, you're going to learn that. Yeah. And you're going to learn it in your own fucking business when you run out of money like 8 times. Yeah. You know? So it's, and they're
I think everybody's at least gone broke a couple times. Literally. Like, how am I going to pay rent? I don't fucking know.
Like, if you're not facing bankruptcy once or twice, like, you're not taking big enough risks. Yeah. Like, I've almost gone bankrupt so many times, and like now we're past that. Like, now I have the ability to take out loans against my own business, and you don't have that in year 1 and 2. Yeah. So I think this goes back to, like, if you're listening to this and you want to date a powerful woman, like, anyone who genuinely cares, like, that your dick is 10 inches and that you're a millionaire, run out. Run away.
Just get
run away. Because, like, we really, like, that's why I'm saying it's not about money. Yeah. It's about impact, and, like, It's about drive, and they could have $4. But that's the perfect example of something that's fixable.
Yeah.
Someone who's an addict or things like that, like that's not fixable. Yeah. Someone who has a personality disorder, that's not fixable. Someone who is not financially stable, that is the easiest problem for us to fix.
Absolutely.
Of all the things you could be.
Yep. You literally could just figure a new idea out and become a millionaire in like the next year.
Exactly.
Which has happened a lot
all the time. Even 10, like to get to 10 figures can be a 60-day journey.
Yeah.
With the right, especially with our friend group, right? Which we have a hack in that, but like, so I think that even if you don't have money and you want to date someone, just know that like the need that I have, it can't be met by $1.
Yeah.
So in fact, like, be rich, don't be rich, just like me and treat me well. That's really, as simple as that is.
I think I wanted to ask too, so I just want to see if you agree with this.
Yeah.
So if you're a man who still thinks like this, and I'm going to say quotes, you're absolutely not ready to secure a high value woman. So if you're a man who says things like treat her badly and make her jealous, do you agree that that's a toxic behavior?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Show her who is boss by walking in front of her rather than next to her.
Oh my God, who does that? People do that?
Yes, my ex-husband.
Oh,
I walk in front of me. Drive me absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I'm like, am I your partner or am I your fucking dog? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? No, I think it sends me.
Yeah.
I don't know who's right or wrong, but it sends me. I'm like, who do you think you are?
Yeah. I'm like, I am your equal partner.
Yeah.
Regardless of who's bringing in the dough or not. Like, we're partners.
Or even be my protector.
Yeah.
I don't need to be your equal.
Yeah.
Be 8 times as cool as I am. I do not care.
Yeah.
Like, be more powerful, be rich, be smarter, I don't care. Be hotter than me. I want every girl in the room to break their neck when you're her. But like, protect me. Yeah. If you're protecting me, you're not 10 feet ahead of me.
Yeah, that's so true.
So I don't think the response is, I think that behavior tells who they are. I don't think that's fixable. I think if I witness someone doing that to me, unless like someone had just passed away in their life, or they just lost $1 million, or like obviously like their men are men days where they're sulking.
Yeah.
But if 90% of the time he's not doing that, I think it's fine. But I think, does that make sense? If it's a behavior, I'm like, you don't value women and you don't protect me.
That's what it is. It's not valuing women.
It's protect me.
Yeah.
Why are you leaving me out?
Yeah. Why are you leaving me here? I need to be protected. Like, appreciate me.
Yeah. I love that. Okay.
Never show her any kind of affection until she's practically begging for it.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's like goes to the whole like ghosting and not texting thing.
God, I feel like you would only do that if you were dating someone toxic.
Yeah.
Right? Like if when I was in my toxic phase, all of those things would work. Because I'd want to make them be like, I'm going to make you like
Isn't
me.
that, it's like then we end up being the chasers.
Yeah.
And that's not good for us.
Yeah.
That's also not healthy for the man either. That does not increase your testosterone at all.
Yeah.
Like it's not a good masculine trait to have.
Yeah, or if you like really are busy and you can't talk to me for 24 hours, the first text should be like, hey, sorry.
Yeah. I feel like at least a little, hey, hope you're good, but
so
I'm going to be busy for the next couple, like really not that long. And now we have voice messages?
Voice memo, it takes 10 seconds.
Yeah, 10 seconds.
Hi, I'm thinking of you, I don't have time today. I do that, honestly.
Yeah.
I really, 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 really learned this lesson. It's like, if they value you, they will. And the thing is, you can make any man want to marry you. And men, you can get any woman to want to marry you. Mm-hmm. But to get them to stay, I think that's just a natural attraction. Like, I think it's a man who's going to, and this doesn't mean that the relationship doesn't deepen with time, the sex gets better with time, those are all true. Mm-hmm. Your sex in year 2, 5 should be better than day 1, in my experience. Because you should be deepening. But he's gonna want you. And if you have to make someone want you, the relationship's gonna end in a decade or 2 anyway.
Yeah.
I really believe that. I really do.
Yeah, because then it's like you're constantly having to meet this need. Mm-hmm. And then if they don't actually want you, you're always going to fall short. And then eventually, obviously we know that happens. You get insecure and then you end up not wanting to be in that relationship because they don't make you feel good anymore.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a cycle.
What's the next one? I love the toxic.
Oh, just the quotes. Yes. I don't know. I already said identify. Oh no, I didn't say this one. Identify her insecurities and use them against her.
Oof. My God.
I feel like I've met men who would act like. So I used to hang out with nothing but guys. I actually had an issue with like hanging out with women because I thought women were so toxic. I just understood men better, which was neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they would actually find things that women would find insecure, like comment on like their tummy or just like things that they get insecure about, and they comment on it in like a sly way so that they're just like, well, I can do better. Like, why is that?
So toxic. Well, I mean, that's kind of our culture. I think that's like a very normal thing. I think it's really fucked up because, right, that's what we call dark NLP. So NLP is if I want someone to become wealthy and they have a block in money, I'm going to say things like, you deserve to be wealthy. I'm programming their mind, NLP, positive. I was engaged when I was super young. Almost married the first guy I ever had sex with. We were together for 5 years. And towards the end of our relationship, my dad had gotten really sick and I went through a series of really bad things. And so I started eating. So I was, not a lot of people know this, I was extremely overweight in high school. Like, really? 215 pounds. Oh my gosh. And I got thin in my 20s and I stayed the same weight ever since. But I lost like 75 pounds one year, but at the height of my being overweight. And he said, what did he say? He's like, I just used to be so attracted to you. Oh. And he was 19 years old, right? And he was not wrong, but it was like the way I still remember that 20 years later, like, 15 years later. Because what he could have said was, babe, like, I love you anyways, but like you gained a lot of weight. And he didn't break up with me or anything. It was just always this topic. And I was like, if you could help me, right?
I was going to say, like, how do you navigate that? Like, would it be beneficial for them to do it with you almost, or?
Yeah, maybe. I don't really know that I have the answer. I think I was just like going to eat myself into a hole until I got tired and wanted to be cute again, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it was part of my journey to learn to be overweight. I think it really helped me understand. I think that was a really important part of who I am and why my personality developed and I became an entrepreneur. I couldn't use my looks to get things, so I had to like the average 20-year-old, right?
Yeah.
So I think if he had just been like, hey, like, obviously I've known you since you were 15, you've gained 70 pounds, like, I see you crying. There's so many things. I see you crying, how do I help? What do I do? Like, what's going on? That would have been the same sentence. So to answer your question, that's dark NLP.
Yeah.
To say things like that, you're manipulating someone to get what you want.
Yeah. Wow. And people do that by doing favors too.
Oh.
All the time.
Isn't it annoying when you realize that you've been doing things to get things? Like, have you had that where you're like, I hated that when I learned that it was manipulative?
When I was with one of my exes, I would do certain things to get a certain result.
Yeah,
so
too.
Yeah, and then you realize like, oh, that's kind of toxic. Like,
even if it's like a trip or a present.
Yeah.
It's like you're doing it, if you're buying the gift and being like, he's going to like me more because of this. When you learn that's manipulative, you're like, damn it.
You're like, that's been going on for some time. Like,
all those trips to Cabo that I've been paying for? Manipulation.
Yeah,
so
oh my gosh,
shitty.
I know. I mean, and there's still moments where I'm like, okay, if I do a massage tonight, I do really good, then Dylan's going to give me a massage a couple days later and it's going to be better.
Yeah.
It's like,
Or just own it. Be like,
Yeah.
so I'm going to massage you today.
Yeah.
And then you're going to take out
In
the
a couple
trash and
days.
massage me.
Yeah. Might as well be okay with it.
Yeah.
I mean, and both, I guess we're both coming from a loving space, so it's not, this is me rationalizing with myself 100%.
No, I mean, we all do it. And I think if your man is doing that too, like, I mean, he might not be toxic, he might just never have learned. We all have, like, very few people have actually truly amazing parents.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what a flex to be able to raise well-adjusted, healthy, growth-minded children.
Yeah.
I look forward to that. But I think that a lot of us, even if your parents were amazing, they didn't cheat, they were together forever, like, they may have been emotionally shut down. They may have not ever shown emotions other than joy. Like, you could have two parents who were very successful and always were happy and always loved you with positive regard, and that could still fuck you up.
Yeah.
Because you never got to drop down, you never got to bad emotions aren't welcome here.
Yeah.
So sometimes that behavior is a man literally not knowing how to say, hey, it's important to me to be with somebody who works out every day. Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to, as gently as I can. So I think it's like when this behavior is coming on, like, without losing your shit, maybe just be like, what's going on? Like, and I've learned too with my boyfriends, my most successful relationship, it was curiosity. I would not assume, and I shit you not, try it. Like, don't be curious. I know you probably do this, like, because you're very well-adjusted.
Yeah.
Right? Like, why didn't you call me why don't you call me? No, like, hey baby, like I noticed you didn't call me. Is something, are you good? Like, I just curious.
Yeah.
And they'll usually say, I'm so sorry, you did not want to talk to me last night. I love you so much. How's your day? Instead, we just immediately, like, then he comes to give you attention. You're like, I'm angry with you.
Yeah. No, don't give me the attention anymore because I asked for it a little while ago and you didn't give it to me. So now I'm unavailable.
I agree. Oh my God. Okay. I have to say this because I just thought of it and I wish someone had told me it's called a cool down period.
Ooh.
Oh my God. It is such a hack. I can't wait till I get to use this on my husband because I've never successfully done this before. It's like when men come home or they come out of anything, whatever it is, they could have been sitting on the couch the whole time, but they hit a thought and they go cold, right? It's a very masculine trait to go cold for 5. Usually it's a 24-hour cycle, right? Their hormones are a day. It's usually 1 day. Maximum, he should only be really not himself for a day. Allowing him to have the cool down period. And no matter how much it triggers your abandonment issues, when he comes back to you, you have to open back up.
Yeah.
And I would never.
It's difficult,
He'd
though.
climb in the bed after the cool down period and be like, I don't, like you just said, I don't want to be touched now. And I'm like, oh my God, I failed that 100 times.
Yeah.
100.
Yeah. It's true. And it's really hard to master because, like, you're hurting and your feelings are real, obviously, but it is. It's like, it's something you have to actually practice and you won't get it down the first time. Because I know I definitely don't and still have not. Like, even when Dylan's, like, super stoic, I'm like, did I do something wrong?
I said that to you the other day.
Yeah.
I go, I literally always think something is wrong. Like, how do you not?
Yeah, it's honestly, and I'll say this, women, pick up fucking hobbies, I'm telling you, because it, like, shit just distracts me. I'm like, oh, Dylan's, like, stoic. All I ask, like, if he's in that energy, I just ask him, I'm like, hey, are you good? And he's like, yeah, baby, I'm just thinking. I'm like, okay, is it anything to do with me? No? Okay, cool. I'm gonna go paint. I'm gonna go do this weird beading thing. I don't know. Anything else. But just, like, entertain yourselves. Like, even if that means so scrolling.
Hard. It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so, from having our guy friends, that's the only reason I learned that. Because I would know that he's not mad at me. Because I'm not his girlfriend. And I've never touched him.
Yeah.
So, like, he's just having an off day. And then an hour later, like, even when we're camping, right, when we spend these days together, right? Like, we've traveled with our friends for days on end. And I'm like, okay, through the course of 3 days, he's the coolest person I've ever met. Then he's a little angry. Then he's focused on a task. Then he's sleepy. Then he's hungry. Then he's horny. Then he's, it's like... And I'm like, nothing to do with me. Yeah. And I think it's that really helped. And I also do this thing, too, where I'll be like, I'm telling myself a story that, or whatever. Or, like, when he would climb bed, right? I'm like, I feel a little cold because you were just distant for 3 hours. I know that wasn't your intention. Just give me a minute. Right? Yeah. Own it. And it's like, I've learned that. Like, sometimes I can't. I can't not be crazy. Yeah. Sorry, man. Like, we just... Yeah. I gotta let the crazy, but I'm gonna tell you that I know that currently Brittany's being crazy. And it usually works. Oh my God, it's so true. It's really just being honest with your partner, with yourself, like recognizing those emotions first, because we have so much emotions that happen throughout the day, but if we don't recognize it, like, we're just going to continue to do the same thing. Yeah. And then just continue to blame other things, external things, that is the reason why, but it's really something that's happening inside. Yeah. But I think recognition of that and then just voicing it is so powerful. Like, I will say, I feel like there is a point of over communication, because sometimes I do feel like Dylan and I over communicate, like, unnecessarily. Like, a thought that has not been processed properly. We didn't have time to actually think about it. Like, we're just talking because we feel something, and then it's like premature. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, now we're having an argument. I'm like, this is not how I wanted this to go. And you don't want to talk about it. No. It's too soon. Yeah. So we talked about the thing with the notes. I was so moved by, like, you guys, when you are not in a fight, but if you hit a moment of contention, you'll communicate without talking. And I thought that was so, I just got chills, because I even shared that with my ex, because at the time we were, still friendly, and I was like, listen to this. Yeah. And he's like, that's brilliant. Yeah. So Dylan and I, when we're angry with each other, we sometimes don't want to talk to each other. We don't even really want to see each other. Like, I'll have the top half of the fucking house and he'll have the bottom half. I love it. And by the way, if you ever live with somebody, at least have an extra room where one of you can, like, get out of sight, because I think that's super important. But when we feel that way, if Dylan wants to take off or if I want to take off, we'll still leave notes around the house to be like, hey, I'm going to take off for a little bit. I love you, blah, blah. And we also, like, I don't know if this is actually toxic or not. I don't think it's toxic, but Dylan and I share locations, and it's just a constant. And it has nothing to do with, like, ownership or anything like that. It's
protective. And like, I don't have to ask where you are. If you're not responding to me, I can find you and like make sure you're good. It has nothing to do with like, oh, I think you're cheating on me.
Yeah.
It's like from a space of love.
Yeah.
And then also not having to communicate everywhere I'm at.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think one of the things that we have to remember too is imagine, okay, so you and I are friends. Imagine if we lived in the same house, slept in the same bed, spent 7 days a week together, texted in the morning, texted in the afternoon, texted at night. Like, who the fuck would you successfully do that with?
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah.
Zero. There's not a single friend, including a family member, that I could spend 7 days a week with.
Yep.
So and that was with my last relationship, I would say, he may not be a perfect man, but I choose him because he's the only person I can literally never get tired of.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where compatibility and what you're talking about, like these little moments, you're going to have issues. Now, the frequency is how we decide if it's toxic or not.
Yeah.
But like, you're just going to.
Yeah.
You're just going to. You cannot spend 7 days a week with someone and not have it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's possible.
You can literally be in the same room with the same person, not say a fucking word to them, and still get mad that they're there.
Yes.
I'm like, can you leave? Yeah. It's like, you've done nothing to upset me, but like your face right now. I can't. Like, get out of here.
It's just the energy of them in your space.
Yeah.
And you want, and the thing is too, I think what you're also avoiding is the crazy.
Yeah.
And so I think like when I integrated the crazy gets way less crazy. Like if I'm like, today I'm really upset and I just I'm like, I'm going to start the day like a crazy and I'm going to end the day like a crazy and we're all going to know it.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be about him.
Yeah.
Boyfriend. It's not boyfriend's fault. Brittany's, and I think that has been fucking hella helpful.
Just accepting it and embracing it. Yeah.
And I told you this too. We were at coffee once and I go, if you want to communicate with Dylan, be grossly honest. Like the kind of sentences you would never want anyone but your therapist or your mom to hear.
Yeah.
Not even your best friend. I feel like today you're going to break up with me and you're going to meet someone better. And whatever the thought is, like the ugliest thing that you're going through, because what that does is it triggers a hero instinct. And when men get to be your hero and make you feel better, they're never going to leave. Oh my God. Give them a task.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like shit today. You didn't do anything wrong. Here's what the story that's telling me. It's triggering when I was cheated on when I was 18. Blah, blah, blah. This happened. And then he'll be like, and then you really do want a partner who responds well to that.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing too. If you're doing that and your partner's not like dropping in with you, Penny, he's not in the middle of the biggest meeting of his life.
Yeah.
There's a time. Like, ladies, not Tuesday at 10 a.m. Okay, let your man fucking work and build his empire. But I think if it's like a Friday night and you had a date night and you're like, I just really don't feel good.
Yeah, and then express why. Like, why do I feel like this is triggering me? I think Dylan and I, there was one night where he had to work really late, and it was the first time that he's ever had to work that late since living together, and it triggered me because I'm like, my dad used to work late, he's cheated on my mom, we found pictures of her, like all sorts of things. And when I brought that up to Dylan, I did communicate it, I thought, effectively, but he also was like just finished a business meeting, he had a few to drink, tolerance was a little bit low, and he's never experienced a woman like having the same triggers that I had, so it was not handled very well. And of course that caused me to shut down, and it just ended up being this vicious cycle of like, I'm hurt and like it's like we're all fucking hurt, okay? But yeah,
tell me what you think has happened, right? Yeah. Like, tell me what you think is going on, and then I'll tell you what I think.
Yeah.
Time and space is a big one.
Yeah.
Shitty though. But I think like the infidelity topic is a huge one.
Yeah.
And I've experienced it. I was a child like of a family the same as you, and I experienced it in my long relationship with my fiance. So I think that like infidelity is a big trigger. So if you're gonna date somebody who's had that, like you have to have a safe word. Like even if it's a Tuesday at 2 p.m., like banana, you know, and that allows your partner to say, hey baby, I know you're in a wound. I genuinely can't talk till 11 p.m., but I love you so much. I'm never leaving. Yeah. Because it's like you're probably not going to be able to tame the crazy, and then you really shouldn't be bringing that to your partner. I know it's an unpopular opinion that I now have, that I've learned from many failed relationships and years of therapy with someone who specializes in attachment, because I'm avoidant and anxious, both. So with certain partners I'm completely unavailable, like you will ice queen, and I'm a child that needs nourishing.
I think I'm the same.
Right? It's when one caretaker was unavailable and one was smothering. You get this fun 5% of people have it, and that's like...
That sounds just like my mom and dad.
Exactly, right? And it's like very fucked up because like with certain people, and then so if someone's secure, you're usually just neutral, so that's like where you're at now. But I think that you can't go to your partner with a lot of it unless it's specifically them.
Yeah.
And when I learned that, I was like, it's not romantic, and I hate it. But my therapist is like, he's not your therapist. You're there to love him. You're there to support him. If he's disappointing you and he's not being a good partner, you need to move out. You need to break up with him. Yeah. You don't need to sit there every day. Because it was like every day. It got to the point where I was like, you did this, and now you're doing this. And it was genuine things, like not good stuff. And she was like, you should have left a year ago. You know?
Oh, wow.
So I think that's what's shitty. Because like in that moment, it is your responsibility to heal it. But how?
Yeah.
I'm still learning that too.
It's difficult because I feel like, yes, I agree with you as far as not bringing it to your partner. Like, there's a lot of work that needs to be done for you by yourself. Like, you should not be using your partner to try and fix everything. I will say, being in a relationship with Dylan has taught me how to navigate it and teach myself that he's still there regardless of my flaws. I think that's what it is like knowing that everything that he knows about me, he's still like, I love you. I think that's all that really matters. I don't want him to solve it for me.
Right.
But I want him to understand, to be patient with me in certain areas. So like for me, him going out with guys is like such a triggering thing because I'm like, I think they're all like at the club with like these bitches and hoes just like slapping, I don't know.
To be fair, back in the day, they probably were. They're all like adult and like settled down now, but it's a fair thing.
And it's fine, right? But not with me. Better not be out there like, doing whatever. But yeah, it's triggering, and I feel like when I'm with Dylan, like him just sticking around allows me to heal.
Absolutely.
So like he lets me be crazy, and he still hangs out. Like
you're not crazy though.
Oh,
I mean, I know that it's like that's what you think, but like you're just healing.
Yes, that's what it is.
I want to ask you a question, and I think this is probably important. In that night, the night that went poorly, what could he have done? Is there one thing that could have been done that would have stopped it? Besides coming home, the answer can't be come home. Like when he was out late, and that right? Because whatever that answer is probably the fix.
Yeah, it's more communication.
Okay.
Like I think if he had, so for me, I like to know details, and to me that makes me feel more comfortable.
Me too.
So if he had texted me like, "Hey, we're going here. Probably going to be busy for the next hour, 2 hours. Blah blah blah. I'll update you if it goes past." Like that would have been great. But he didn't communicate with me that night. And he was just like, "Yeah, we're figuring it out." And I'm like, "What? Like, can you tell me what the plan is? When do I expect you home?" And like, if you go over, that's fine, but just communicate. Yeah. Just let me know.
Yeah.
Because I think over communicating could be more beneficial in that case. Like just fucking update me. Like that's all,
I think it's too like it would be like a 48 hours later thing. Like if you can now we're adulting. 48 hours, lock it the fuck down. Wait till your Friday night date, and then you say, "I know that is not your intention to make me upset. I understand that then you would not cheat on me. I completely trust you, but if you want to be in this relationship and you want the best version of Donna, when you're out, this is what I need. Yes. And if you can't give it to me, I get that because that's a big ask. Yeah. But just know that if you want to come home to the same person you left, if this is what you do, you're going to come home and I'll be happy. Yeah. And then you have to be happy. Yeah. If he does it, I don't care then what. He'll be jaded. Yeah. He's like, I fucking told you 204. Okay. You told me. So and that's what I'm like, make it easy for them to love you.
Yes. Oh, that in and of itself is like the golden nugget. Make it easy for them to love you. Yeah. Because we make it very difficult. Yeah. There's so many different layers that we have, which is fine, we're humans. We've experienced so many different walks of life, but it's like find a way to make it easier to love you because we just want to be loved. I think at the end of the day.
It's such a powerful thing. When I did that, I turned a very toxic relationship into an almost healthy relationship. Like almost. Like it was a lot of, I learned so much from that relationship. And at the end I was still hungry because it was just like, there's just things that he's not capable of that I need. And that is what allowed me to move on and be like, I love you. Thank you for everything. I'm ready to love somebody different now. And that was the detachment. But that was what my therapist said. She's like, make it easy. So I made a list. It was 10 things. This is what I need. Let me tell you, none of them got done. And then that was when I was like, okay, but I'm meeting all of their needs. So now he was happy and I was hungry and, you know, so, and that was where I learned that, because when I gave a list, I was like, okay, wait, now I know exactly what I need.
Yeah.
And so when you stay out and you don't text me, you know you're coming home to me mad because I've told you that.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. Yeah. You knew what you were doing.
You knew. Don't play the dumb card. Like, you're a smart man, and that's why I chose you. So be smart.
Or like, here's the deal. If your girlfriend says, this is what I need, and you can't meet it, then she's going to be unhappy.
Yeah.
They're just creating a monster for themselves.
Yeah.
So I think it's this, and you have to, it's like you can't prevent someone from cheating on you. You can't do any of that. You just have to trust that you will handle it if the moments happen, in the highest way possible.
Yeah.
Easier said than done, you know?
So much easier said than done.
I know. I failed a lot at that too.
Yeah.
But I think that's what gives you the bravery to say things like, when you're on a business trip, it's not appropriate for you to not call me for a full day.
Yeah.
So that was one of our conversations. I was like, why do you... I'm paying your rent. We've lived together for years. Yeah. You're across the world.
Yeah.
There's not 20 minutes you could find to say hi.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, but that
doesn't make sense to me. You know, like I logically am like,
yeah.
Why couldn't you send a text? It's that easy.
Or just be like, hey baby, I have a super busy day. I can't connect today.
Yeah.
And I would say like, it's fine if you can't do that, but then I'm going to be single. Yeah. Because I will still sleep with you. We can still date. We can still be best friends. Yeah. I would love to see you when you're in town, but I'm not going to have a boyfriend then. Mm-hmm. So pick. Yeah. Like, you boyfriend or you fun times? Yeah. You know, like, pick your category.
What do you want? Wifey version of me, or do you just want
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
And it really is.
There
like,
it is.
Guys want the wifey package, but they're not willing to pay the premium prices. Like,
and that doesn't mean a ring.
No.
That just means, like, here's my 8 things I need. Yeah. Give me 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then try the work on the other one.
Yeah. And I think that's important for the women's side, too. Like, we need to be very clear for ourselves. We don't have to tell everybody in the world, like, hey, this is all the things that need to be checked before you even talk to me. That's not the case. True. But there is things that, like, morally you will not budge. Like, write a fucking list.
Dude.
Like, I've written a list of myself. Like, there's quality traits in myself that I expect out of myself. And when they fall short, or if I feel like I'm acting crazy, I'm like, does this match the list that I made for myself? I'm like, no, this isn't the highest version of me, so why am I acting this way? It's not a part of my list. Yeah. It's not who I want to be. Yeah. And you can change yourself whenever, but I think it's really important to have a foundational list of, like, these are the quality traits that I want to be as a woman, and these are the quality traits that I will not budge for in a man. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of things I would not budge for. Like, cheating is obviously one of them.
No, cheating is, and the, you know, that's why I said infidelity could be an entire, the science of infidelity and why it happens, and it's so interesting. But I think one of the cool things is we're talking about masculine energy. We're talking about how you and I were basically very masculine, like right when we met, and you coming out of your divorce and into this spiritual partnership. Even back then when you guys were not together, like, he spoke so highly of who you were. Aww. So even I remember like having conversations when you guys were just like starting to date, and you know, he took you on dates that he's always showed how much he wanted you. So even when it's messy, and even when it's, you know, like, it's gonna be messy. I have full chills right now. Like, I think that's the misconception. It's like, we don't want a perfect person. We don't want them to be perfect. But behind closed doors, when he met you, he was impressed by you. And even in your masculine state, he goes, I'm signing up for this. It's a fuck yes for me. Yeah. Let's go paint on a mountain. You know, he was constantly, even in you being maybe a little bit of not a polar, now you are. Now you're polarized.
Now we're getting better, yeah.
So even in your brokenness, like, you deserve love. And I think that's also it. It's like, if someone can't even help you become feminine, and you can't help them become masculine, then it's going to be a mess. Yeah. I don't know that would be successful. I think you both said, all right, I really fuck with you. Yeah. And
it was a decision. It wasn't, we didn't base it fully off of, like, emotions.
Yep. It's like, does this work?
Yeah.
Logic.
Yeah. We're like, okay, this is, like, we both knew that we wanted to find our person. Yeah. And so the decision to be with somebody, like, okay, like, this is somebody I could see me being with for the rest of my life. Like, that was the decision. And now the decision is what carries us throughout our relationship, because even though we're fucking angry with each other,
yep.
I'm like, well, I decided to be with you, so
yep.
Even though I'm angrily saying this, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, oh fuck. I'm like, yeah, I agreed, but I also don't want to go back out there, and this man is great to me, so I'm just gonna suck it up.
He's such a good partner.
Yes.
It's really inspiring to watch, and I have watched you both like evolve, and that's the goal.
Yeah.
What you're experiencing is what everyone should want. It's like, you're not perfection, but like you just said, it's not about, if you date somebody because of their car, their house, their face, their abs, that's going to be dangerous.
It'll last for so long. It's not sustainable.
Yeah, and maybe in 5 to 10%, you get super lucky and both people have an awakening and they deepen and they happen to be very compatible. But, you know, when you're dating at 30, you say, these are my needs, these are your needs, this is what makes me crazy, you don't do that. It's two people looking in the same direction. So like, it is so, you want to have a really powerful spiritual partnership. What's your why? What are your whys? Do they go together? My why was, I want to go travel the world and start multiple businesses. My boyfriend's why was, I want to have a farm. That we had completely different.
It would not work out.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it was like, and this is where we're going to be for 10 years. And I was like, well, how am I was shutting my businesses down. I was moving across the country. So it's like, when your whys are completely conflicting, and that, I think that's unavoidable.
Yeah. You become resentful too if your whys don't match, and then if you did decide to go to that farm, and like live that life, eventually you would yearn for more.
I actually wanted to. I did, and I lived both places for a while, but it was like, his life was a priority and mine wasn't. Even though I was a breadwinner, I made all the money, you know, and I like was starting companies, and it was like, all I need is a week in Arizona. Can we just go for a week? And then it was like, it was either he would come and be upset about it, or like I would go alone. So I was alone. It was like just so detaching. You kind of met me in the space. It was just like very undercover. So
that was like a year ago.
A year, about September was a year.
Okay.
That he moved out.
A lot can happen in a year.
For sure. I'm a completely different person.
Yeah. Do you feel like lighter and everything now that you're like embracing more of your femininity?
Yeah. I think the coolest thing for me is I'm so excited to love someone. Right?
See, that's how you know she's ready to pop, guys.
Right?
Like, as in, like, finding her man. Not like that.
And I've just been honest about, like, who I am and what I'm going to do for the world, and the fact that, like, the kids thing, like, it, like, taking that off the table. Yeah. Marriage thing, take the marriage thing off the table. What do I want to do? It could be 5 men for the rest of my life. It could be 1. It could be none. Like, it's like, I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to do this. And if someone's right there next to me, that's cool. And I think that I told one of our best friends, Ryan, who I own Space Nails with, I was like, I don't even care about kids or marriage or anything. I just want love. I want impact, and I want to feel really good. And he goes, babe, that's the start of finding your husband. Yeah. He goes, you literally just said the sentence that men need to hear, you know, like that. It's like, basically, I hate to tell you this, but that's where it starts. Yeah. You know? And then in my head, I was like, yeah. That's what the energy men need to feel safe. Yeah. To commit to
and they'll
forever.
Pick up on it, too. Yeah. Like, whether you open your mouth or not.
Oh,
like,
my God, yeah.
They'll pick up on it. Like, men can feel a more feminine energy. Like, they might see somebody who's, like, powerful and like, in their masculine. They're like, oh, like, I admire her. But they won't necessarily attract to it because it's like, oh, she's got her needs met. Like, what am I going to do?
What is there for me to do?
Yeah. And men like to be heroes. And that's okay. Like, let them be a hero. It does not hurt for us women to compliment our men more. I do feel bad for our men sometimes, because we do, like, there's a lot of women out there who treat men like shit.
It's true.
And then they're angry.
They're so angry.
They're so angry. And I mean, women are too, but I do feel for the men, because I feel like there are areas where we could take a step back and be more submissive. And when I say submissive, I don't mean like, oh, let me like wait on you hand and foot, but like, I mean, allow him to step into a place of power and lead. And like trust him to lead. That's submissive. It's like, I trust you.
Yep. And I honestly, and this is the people that I've met that I have not dated, it was because when they would make decisions, I didn't feel like I wanted to be led by them. And so we have friends in common that, like, when they speak, right, like, we can probably think of some of them right now. Like when they're like, we're going here. I'm like, yep, I'm in the car.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Because
I'm
you
like,
trust them.
I trust our friends explicitly. And I said on my birthday, I cheers everybody was sitting there. And I was like, you have no idea how much you helped me, because I'd never had a masculine say, this is where we're eating. Park here. Go here. This is where, and I'm just like, yep. And I complete hands off the wheel, and I never had that in my last relationship. Yeah. So sad for him, right? Like how sad that he never got to lead me. And then when I was ready to be led, he was like, it was so much damage had been done. Yeah. So much damage had been done, and I had brought out the worst version of him. He'd brought out the worst version of me. And I think that like, there is repair that can always happen between people, but I didn't trust him to lead me from the beginning. And there were so many red flags that I was like, that'll be fine. Yeah. It was never fine. Yeah. There was so much radical emotional unavailability and like verbal and emotional abuse. And so I think like those things were there from the beginning. Mm-hmm. So like it was always like this, like my hands were like I was blocking myself, like get out. Yep. You know?
Yeah. So. I think it's being in that energy to allow men to lead. Because I'll say I kind of was in that energy with Dylan when we first started dating, but I felt like there was areas that I was like, I don't know. Because I like for the beginning months of our relationship, like I had more money. I had the house. I had the car. I had like everything. I was good, you know? And then somehow our dynamic shifted, and now I'm pretty princess over here. I love it. Like, I'm like, it's like, you don't have to work. I'm like, what?
It's kind of nice.
Yeah. This is the first, like, time I've not felt stressed about, like, bringing home the bacon. Yeah. You know? That's nice.
It's good. I don't really have to work either. Like, I've created that for myself as well. And I always say that, too. Like, when I create companies with women, I'm like, we're not creating a job. Yeah. We're going to create a brand. Yeah. We're going to create a business that runs itself from the first day.
So you can leave it.
There's obviously like Sarah Blakely calls it sweat equity.
I love Sarah Blakely.
What a queen.
You literally exude her energy.
That is the nicest thing you could ever say. Yeah. I love her. She's a billionaire who wears like a simple gold band.
I love that.
I'm like, dude, she didn't get married till late in her 30s. Like, she's so grounded for how brilliant she is, I feel like. But she always says there's sweat equity. Like in every business, you have to have sweat equity, but if you're creating a job for yourself, you won't be feminine. Mm-hmm. You can't. So like,
because you have to work all the damn time in your own business.
So my husband's like, we're going to wherever. I'd be like, cool, I could turn my phone off. Yes. And like, would it be a little sloppy? Yeah, probably a little sloppy. Yeah. Like people are like, the fuck are you doing on an island right now? But I mean, like, would my businesses still run? Yes, they would. Yeah. So I wouldn't be creating as much impact if I lived like that. But not having to work is also the key. Mm-hmm.
I feel like you have a good balance, and I feel like you would accept a man leading easier than I have been right now, because I did make a good amount of money when I was in my real estate, but I have gone like 2 years not working, and I was just living off that money because I was trying to discover my life and all this shit. And basically, because now I actually need more support while I pursue other things, that means Dylan now has to step into that provider role. And I'd struggle. Yeah. Like I still to this day, like me taking care of the house instead of bringing home the bacon, like, ooh, and it doesn't make me feel great. Yeah. But I've learned how to like be better with it. I won't say okay. I'm going to say better because I'm improving. But it has it's been frustrating to say the least to switch from I was the masculine and the provider to now I have to sit down. But see, I feel like you're set, you're good. And so you don't, when a man comes into your life, the right man comes into your life, I feel like you'll be able to be like, okay, lead me. Because you also have security in yourself as well without him having to step into that role.
Yeah, and I think that, again, probably like a whole thing, but I don't think that cleaning and having kids and cooking is feminine. Ooh. And here's why. Because it's also a task. So like there's a difference. Like I want to nurture. So if my husband or my partner said, I want you to be the most feminine, happy version of Brit, and I want to come home and walk in and you're just like glowing and happy, I would not have cleaned on that day. Yeah, I would have been reading. I would have been painting. I maybe would have masturbated. I would have maybe journaled. Like I would have called some friends. Like I would not be cleaning the floor. So I think that that's like a very like patriarch. I don't like that. Yeah. And I think that like the cooking, that's a little different. It's like, let me nourish you.
Yeah. See, that to me is feminine because it's nourishing.
Yeah, or design, right? Like, I'm gonna build a home with my husband, and he walks in and he's like, damn, this is like, right? Like, I'm gonna build an environment, it's gonna smell good, like, our clothes are gonna smell good. That doesn't mean that I'm the one that actually washed the shirt. I'm just gonna facilitate the environment. Now, if that means that there's someone who's paid $80 every week to come and do that so that I can sit and read a book on how to be a better partner instead of spending an hour cleaning a floor, like, I'm always going to miss a line to that.
Yeah.
Especially because the first year of business, I outsourced everything mundane, and I realized how much happier I was. So even now that I don't work as much, like, that's still not a priority. I still outsource that. Yeah. Because I would rather sit in my living room. Yeah. And read or
and I feel like that's where, when you work hard enough, you can definitely achieve that. I'm not there yet.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So for me, I guess my source of income, or maybe investment in the relationship, is doing that stuff, because Dylan can't do it. He's at work all the time. So I'm like, I guess the trade-off. But still, it's tough. But it is nice to be able to just do those things. Like, if I was in my complete feminine and not having to work at all, and I was set like you, I'd probably be painting a lot. Like, honestly.
You're an amazing painter.
Yeah. Thank you. By the way,
she's like casually an incredible painter and graphic design. I'm like, well, I do these things.
I just started figuring out I enjoy it.
That's you figuring it out?
Yeah, that's me playing.
It's fucking pro already.
Like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, I would have never got to play with it before, because I'm like, I was in real estate. I'm like, let me show you a house and then fucking show the rest of these realtors what's what. Like, it's massive. It's feminine. It's thank you. Well, I feel like I'm channeling it now that I can, like, relax a little bit. It's hard to channel the flow when you're not able to relax.
Well, I think, like, yesterday he posted you he's like, I'm trying to work, but, or is it today? And you were making the tree. And I was laughing. I'm like, see, that's pulling you into your feminine. Yeah. Because he'll post you and be like, she's so hot putting together our tree. And that's after a year, right? Of living together. So I think I think that's what's nourishing you. So yeah, I mean, if you're at home and you don't have anything to do all day, and, like, it's not that hard to keep a house clean. No. But don't ever look at me and be like, you need to clean the house today.
Yeah. Like, what do you mean?
I want to do it
more so we can afford it.
Yeah, like, baby, what can I do for you? Like, trade. What can I do for you in your business that could validate that hour being spent with someone coming in every 2 weeks? Yeah. Like, I'm all about the barter system. Right? Yeah. Like, whatever. Make a logo for someone, clean my kitchen.
I heard this saying, what was it? It was like, the guy asked his girl, hey, you've been home all day, why isn't the house clean? Oh, no. And she's like, well, you've been at work all day, why aren't we a millionaire? I'm like, yes. That's
oh my god, it's so true.
Yeah, it is.
You've been down there for an hour, why haven't I orgasmed?
Yeah, what's going on?
That doesn't happen. That was a total joke. Honestly,
I don't think I would want a man to be down on me for an hour.
Absolutely
That's like way too long.
Absolutely. 3 minutes and then we're done, please.
I'd be thinking about 20 other things I could be doing. Like, look, there's a lot of shit that I need to get done. Like, we need to finish this.
Get back up here.
Yeah.
That's masculine. It's the receive.
That is the masculine, yeah. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. We gotta learn the balance.
So we need a free cleaning crew if anybody would like to volunteer.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely over our hour. Yeah. We're 2 hours, so this is definitely gonna have to be 2 episodes, which is great because there's a lot of stuff that we talked about. Before we exit, I would like to, first of all, say thank you for being my 3rd guest on my podcast ever. Like, you are a very, very special person to me. And I think you have an amazing amount of value to offer the world. And I hope that this platform or all the other platforms that you get on is going to be able to help catapult that even more, because your voice definitely is something that needs to be heard. What's the next big things that are going for Brit Shane?
I worked for 2 years on Space Face Nails, which is a luxury nail option for women. And I'm actually taking doing the first Kickstarter I've ever done. Like, I've always been, cash based or friends and family based, like, of my capital. So this is the first full investor pitch that we've ever done. So by January that will be live. And basically we hope to replace nail salons. But it needs to be done different. So that's what I've been working on. I'm now pivoting full time into, I basically created an agency for entrepreneurs. So if you own a business and you call me and you have a need, I can meet it with the people on my staff. So that's my company portal. It's taken me this whole year to kind of unravel. So I basically had all of my brands and I put a business partner in each of them. And I was like, you're running the day-to-day. This is the exchange. And I kind of mentioned that earlier. So I'm doing that because I want to help make as many millionaires as I can in my lifetime. And if you don't want to be a millionaire, I want to help take as many people out of corporate America and into their dream. I don't care what that is.
Yeah.
I want to help you make 6 figures, whatever your dream is, right? And I think that my first 6 figures came very tough, very, very, very tough, like when you're learning how to do that. So I want to fast track that process for people.
Did you have a mentor when you were starting off in entrepreneurship?
Like, yes, because I kind of think you just learn from everybody, right?
Yeah.
I worked for other people. I saw things that I loved that they did, and I saw things that I did not love that they did. And I've always been, it's weird because, you know, I've always known that, you know, I'm gonna have kids, I'm gonna get married, all that. But I was always, even as a kid, had this vision, and it was too small for me to have seen it anywhere. You know, it was like the jet and the life and the whatever. And I always thought it was for the house and the cars and the whatever, but it's really the impact. Like, and I really, like, even with $20,000 a year, right, up until this point, money doesn't impact me emotionally. It just impacts me emotionally because it frees me up to do whatever.
Yeah.
And I want to gift that to people.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand why. I was like, why do you want to be wealthy? I want to stand on stages and I want to help people, and it's not for money. Like, I don't care if I ever get paid for that, because that's the next step for me. So now I'm kind of in a phase of like taking everything I've learned and all the mistakes I've made and all the terrible decisions and amazing decisions, and like helping transition that to fast track for people.
Cool.
So that's probably 2 of them. And then I'm really getting into like the art space and having an event center. So I want to be able to have like where I'm working on finding a space where we can be the ones where when you want to have a party, like we're the ones that host it.
That's smart, because we have such a big friend group.
God.
Like, I feel like you book out all the time.
I know. That's probably that. And then like all next year, we're going to start doing vacations for entrepreneurs. So
like retreats.
Yeah. Not necessarily like a full retreat. Like literally we just book the venue. Here's where we'll be. Invite all of our friends, and then like a networking event, but internationally.
Ooh.
So that starts. So Atlas will start doing vacations all next year. So if you guys want to come travel with some entrepreneurs, we're doing that all year long. So
yeah,
we basically just charge you the cost of the room, and we're not profiting on it. And
it's really just to connect good people.
Well, I mean, and I think that like all we want to do is just kick doors open for people.
Oh, I love that.
That's all I want.
Just open their eyes, because a lot of people don't know what entrepreneurship can bring you. Yeah. But it's also not for everyone. So not trying to persuade anyone.
No, it's not. And I think that like you don't necessarily need to have you can have a business without having a business.
Yeah.
Like if you're amazing at making something, you can make an Etsy that makes you $5,000 to $10,000 a month.
Yeah.
And you don't do anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not about having a business. Some people won't find value in having a business. Absolutely. Like one of my most important people on my team, all she wants to do is be an amazing mom and a wife.
I love that.
But she has a really good voice, and she's fucking amazing at social media. So like that's her, you know, and she'll probably be a millionaire just by virtue of her good ideas. But her priority, I would never encourage a woman to have her priority be, the only reason my priority is being a business is because the world needs what I'm going to do for it. Right?
Yeah.
Then that's probably the same. It's this wild calling where I'm like, I know that I was born to do this.
Yeah.
It's how some women feel about having kids.
Yep.
Right? And it's
very true.
Equally so fucking important, because guess what? I had a mom like that. And she raised me. And so now I get to go do that. So it's like, if you're called to be a mom, they just raise amazing kids.
Yeah.
The world needs that too. So that's basically what I'm going to be doing next year.
Sweet. So Brit's got a lot of things going on next year. Next yort. She'll be doing. She's got a lot of crazy, fun, cool things. You can tell the passion in her voice when she explains the things that she wants to do. So she really just wants to be out there helping people, kicking doors open for them, and helping them realize their biggest potential, their truest potential.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So
thank you, Brit.
Yeah, thank you for being on the podcast. And
I got to be here before you were famous too.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yep. We're speaking it into existence.
It's already here. We're already here. Time just has to catch up.
Exactly.